Hi fellow mortals and welcome to a new video. Today I have a very relevant and also very controversial topic to talk about. So imagine you're on Instagram or TikTok, you're scrolling and you come across a video with an amazing song on it that you really like. So you add that song to your playlist. So you try to look up who's behind this music, who are these people, when can I see them live? But then this is the first result you get when you look them up. I think this is a story that a lot of us can relate to. Lately, a lot of AI bands have been popping up, including AI goth bands. So in this video, I want to talk about why I think this is a bad thing and why I think AI music doesn't have a place in the goth subculture. And I also want to tell you how you can spot AI music. And also, I want to talk about the way these bands promote themselves, because that is something that I definitely don't support. So before we start, make sure to take a look at my Instagram. I post pretty often on there. Also join the Discord server, we have a lovely community. And I also want to say a huge thanks to the members on my channel for supporting me. So AI is obviously a very big topic lately. Some people are really into it and use it a lot, and some people are against it or hate it. I personally think that AI could have a very useful place in society, especially when it comes to healthcare, even though I don't think we should treat people by using AI, but we can definitely use AI, for example, to spot abnormalities in CT scans and that sort of stuff. I know that AI is really good at that and I've seen it with my own eyes. So I think it can be very useful, but I wish it wasn't this accessible to the public, because I know a lot of people use AI for the wrong reasons. I've already made a video about people using AI to make goth girls and selling OF content with fake AI goth girls. But today we're gonna talk about AI music in particular, because goths are known to be pretty anti-AI, especially when it comes to AI music. So for context, goth is a music-based subculture, and well-known bands are Bauhaus, Sisters of Mercy, Susie and the Banshees, The Cure, Christian Death, and there's many more. And the term goth music is often confused with other types of music like metal or something. But goth music is, for example, gothic rock, death rock, dark wave, and a couple more genres. And goth music is often about darkness, about romance, about supernatural creatures or mythical creatures, but it can also be about certain ways of viewing the world, about how people treat each other, and just overall morality. So why does AI music not have a place in the goth subculture? Firstly, goth is about authenticity and being yourself and mostly expressing yourself. And yes, of course, AI music can be used to express yourself. You can put something into the prompt, your feelings, your thoughts, and it will make something for you that expresses your feelings. Which can be very handy if, for example, you're not good at singing or you don't know how to play instruments, but it was still created by a machine, so it doesn't really have your soul in it. And I know people who really like AI are tired of hearing the soulless argument. I know that, but still, in this goth subculture, the soul and the authenticity, the personality of the music is the most important part of the music, which I think is a thing in most types of music, but that is just a big reason why goths don't like AI music. It doesn't have that feeling that you want to get out of it. Also, something that is very against goth is that AI music cannot think of things itself. It needs to use things that already exist to make something. So when it makes music, it uses elements of already existing songs or already existing voices to make a song. So people have actually put effort into making music and to sing or make something on a computer. It steals from them. And that is also something that you can hear in the music. Like a lot of AI bands, you can hear where they took inspiration from, which is also a reason why people don't really like listening to that music, because it's kind of an altered version of music that already exists. Also, something goths are a really big fan of is DIY. So obviously AI music isn't exactly in line with that. Then there's another thing that goths and people in general don't like about bands that use AI, and it's the fact that many of them lie about it. Like, if you want to make things with AI, that's your choice. But it's good to be honest about it, so the people who don't want to consume AI content can make their own decision about engaging with your content. And unfortunately, some of the goth bands that have existed for a while now have used AI too. Not necessarily in their music, but a very well-known thing is that Cleopatra, I don't know how to pronounce it, that's like a label with a lot of goth music. They're known to use AI for their album covers, which is also something a lot of goths don't support, because they could have paid actual artists to make their art, or they could have actually made something themselves with their soul and their ideas in it. Instead, they used AI to make as many album covers as they can as easily as possible. But there are also goth bands that just make their music entirely with AI, or bands that use AI in their video clips. And someone in my Discord server sent me a link to a Reddit page where they kind of summed up a couple of goth bands that use AI. So I will link that page in the description down below. Now, I cannot confirm that all of these things are actually AI, like this is just a Reddit page, don't take it too seriously. I can share it with you just so you can look into it, Honestly, I think it should just be a thing where AI bands need to have like a flag or a label or thing on their page to say like, this is AI content, it's not real. And I know that, for example, YouTube and Spotify have been sort of trying to do that, but they haven't really succeeded at all, because you can find so much AI music on Spotify, it's not even okay anymore. Like in your Discover Weekly and just in any like public playlist, you'll see so many AI bands. It's actually crazy. Like it's a whole thing on Spotify. I know that in my Discord server, we also have a rule where we say you can post things that are AI, but you need to disclaim that it is AI, because acting like something isn't AI when it is just, wrong. So when I was talking about this with some people, someone asked me, how do you even know when a band is AI? Like, how do you spot the difference between AI bands and not AI bands? So I want to give you some tips on how to see if a band might be AI. So I will name a couple of things and I will show you examples later on. So firstly, something that is usually a thing with AI bands is that you cannot find anything about the artists in it. Like there's no pictures of the artists, there's no information on it. When you look up the band, you cannot find any band members. There's no live performances. There's just no human activity to be found about this band. So also something that you can find, for example, on Spotify is usually bands have like a description. But when a band is AI, it usually doesn't have a description, or the description is something very vague, like some quote that is obviously written by AI. I have an example of that, I will show it to you. But a lot of these bands actually just have no biography and no description at all, or just a description with links to their merch pages, which is a whole nother thing where they actually earn money by selling this AI stuff. So another tell is that these bands make a lot of music, like so much music that it is not humanly possible. Some of these bands have like 200 albums in a year, which is obviously not possible. They just put in a prompt, it'll make a couple of things and they can immediately post it without having to edit it or put any effort into it at all. Another thing that I've mentioned before is AI album covers. A lot of bands use AI in their album covers nowadays and in their merch and in their videos on YouTube. So it is a common thing, but when a band uses AI, you know that they aren't afraid to use it for their content, so they might as well have used it in their music, So that to me is already kind of like a red flag. And lastly, something you can find on social media is that some of these artists have a lot of following, but no engagement. For example, they have 1 million followers and 1 million listeners, but when you go to their posts, they barely get any comments and they barely get any engagement. So that means they are probably buying their listeners and buying their followers, which is something that AI bands do a lot. Like I know other bands do it too, but AI bands do it a lot where they buy followers. People think, okay, they have a lot of followers, so they must be real, but they don't necessarily have to be real with a lot of followers. Just look at the engagement. As I said, I want to show a couple of examples about this. So one of the most popular bands that we think is AI, it's called Scars. It's not goth music, by the way. So I'm using Scars as an example of an AI band in this video. And even though they're not goth music, they will become relevant to the goth subculture later into this video, as you'll see, and they're also relevant to this whole conversation. And you might have seen them on TikTok or Instagram because they're pretty popular for paying meme pages to be on their reels. So they put their music on every one of their posts. And it's not certain that this band is AI, but there are a couple of things that make us think that this band is AI, so you can make a decision for yourself if you think this might be AI. You see they do have quite a lot of listeners, which could be real, but when we go to their Instagram page, you see they have 350k followers. But when we go to their posts, they get like 300, 500 likes each, so barely any engagement, which makes me think that a lot of their followers are probably bots or are probably fake accounts. And one thing that is also very obvious is that this band has a crazy number of songs and albums, Well, they only make music since 2019, and I'm just thinking like, how could you make this many songs in that short a time? Also, some of the album covers seem to be made with AI, so they're definitely not afraid to use AI for their content. And also, there's no description, no names of the members, no inspiration, nothing. Also, Scars has been active on social media replying to people's comments, because people who say that this is AI music, he's reacting to their comments saying it's not AI music. So if it is, they're lying about it. Now, Scars itself has posted a video on Instagram with a guy singing along to their music. The question is this guy the actual singer? We don't know, because he's not singing, he's just playbacking. In this video, you can hear the song as it is on Spotify. So it is just the song itself, it's not someone in their room singing this song. And the caption says, AI generated, huh? So he's trying to prove people wrong, trying to prove that there's an actual guy behind this music. But obviously, this guy could just be the one who is making the AI music by putting prompts into an AI bot. And for someone with quite a lot of listeners, he also hasn't had any live performances. So is he AI? I think he might be. It's all allegedly, like, it's all my opinion. This is just the things that I have found and that a lot of people agree with me about. So showing a face doesn't necessarily mean that a band isn't AI. So I also want to talk about the way that these AI artists promote themselves. So as I've already mentioned, Scars and a lot of other AI bands pay Instagram and TikTok pages to promote their music and to put in the caption like, oh, Scars, listen to this song, blah, 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 you know? Which is something I don't really like, because literally Instagram is completely flooded with their music, and it's not just my algorithm, because everyone is saying this. Everyone is saying like, my page is flooded with Scars. I always scrolled away from their things and I blocked their page, but still you would get their songs a lot on videos. So it's also just annoying the way they promote it. But something else I've noticed is that some of these bands promote their music by playing into the goth stereotypes. Now again, Scars isn't goth music, but it does use goth to promote itself. So the first thing I noticed is that they have a merch link in their description on Instagram. So I went and looked at their merch. So I believe this t-shirt isn't available on their merch site anymore, but it used to be. And the shirt says Goth Rockstar Tee. Now, their music isn't goth, so it's kind of strange how they use the word goth to sell their merch. And Scars is also using goth in another way to promote their videos, in the form of objectifying and fetishizing goths. That is definitely not something new here on my channel, because that is something that I talk about a lot. So I thought in this video I'd mention it too, and I'd show it to you, because I do think that it's something kind of horrible to do. Like, you're making music, I'm not sure if it's actual real music, but it's no goth music, and they are still using goth girls to promote it in like a very objectifying way.
No! God, please, no! No! No!
It's probably just for engagement. They know that, you know, posts about goth girls get a lot of engagement. But still, it's like, you know, make posts about your actual audience and about the actual people that listen to your music, instead of using a completely different subculture to promote the music that isn't part of that subculture at all. Every time you share, your goth girl drop rate increases by 10 times. And of course, they put their own song under this, hoping that people are actually sharing these posts so they can find more listeners. Genie, you have 3 wishes. Me, goth Latinas for both of us. Genie, you have 3 wishes. Wow, such a good joke. Somebody help me, the goth girl is drowning. Bro who can't swim. Bro, that is so funny, bro. Yeah, they literally posted hundreds of memes about goth and goth baddies and goth mommies and goth girlfriends. It's actually crazy. Yeah, about this one, I really don't like when artists are putting down other artists to seem better. Like, a while ago, some newer goth band posted a reel saying like, who even cares about Bauhaus and all these bands anymore? You should listen to our music. And I'm like, did you really have to put down the most iconic goth bands just to promote your music? Like, you can do it in a kinder way. You could also be like, oh, our music sounds a little like something. You know the band Deceit? It's like this newer goth band that has become quite popular. I've been listening to them a lot. but they promote themselves by saying that they sound like The Cure, which I really like. Like, they're telling me what I can expect. I love The Cure, so I must like them too. I think that is a better way of promoting yourself than to say, oh, Taylor Swift's so bad, you should listen to our music, you know? I just think we could be a little more kind to our colleagues in the music world if you're promoting your stuff. But yeah, anyway, I think it's just really gross to use these goth memes to promote your music. Like, if you know anything about the goth subculture, which I'm guessing you don't, it's that we hate these types of memes and we hate when people use goth this way. So you can be sure that none of the goths will listen to your music if you keep promoting it this way. Yeah, not only scarves and the way they promote themselves, but also just these goth AI bands. They're just another case of people using the surface level of a subculture to earn money and to promote themselves without actually caring about the subculture that is behind it and the values of that subculture. Like, they're completely ignoring those because they want to make money with their music. Yeah, I'm really curious to know what you guys think about this. What do you think about AI music, especially in the context of the goth subculture? And have you found any of these AI bands? Please share them with us, because I think a lot of people would like to know if certain bands are AI so they know they can avoid them. Yeah, please let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, consider subscribing, leave a like under the video, and I really hope to see you in my next video. Bye bye!